I think it's true to claim that at least at a certain time in Western history, many philosophers and scientists were very optimistic that at one future point they will solve all the problems, everything there is to know about reality thanks to scientific progress. Even if you read people at the beginning of modernity like Descartes or Gassendi or Boyle, so Newton, these were all people, they were very much, just because of the enormous progress science was doing at these times, so they were really enthusiastic, they were really optimistic that at one future point science will just solve all empirical problems. I think nowadays most scientists and philosophers of science, they have realized that the material world might be far more complex as it was assumed in previous times. Just think about the change from the Newtonian to quantum mechanics, quantum mechanic physics. So it seems that the world is far more complex, that at the very bottom of physical reality, that there are things going on that we have, at least from our common sense view, it's very hard for us to grasp these phenomena. We might, thanks to mathematics, we might describe them, we can establish the functions describing these phenomena, but from a common sense point, it's very hard to grasp what is really going on the quantum level, for instance. So I think this is one reason why people have become more cautious about claiming that at one point science will solve all the problems. On the other hand, I think many scientists, they make certain claims that science might at some point explain everything about the material world. But what these scientists, according to my opinion, what most of the time they really want to say is that for doing research, we have to assume only that the world is material. We don't have to assume any extra non-material entities which somehow help us to explain what is going on in the material world. So it seems to me that very often people are making, even though they talk as if the idea would be that science will explain everything there is, what they really want to say is just that science might in principle be able to explain everything there is in the material world, and for explaining the material world we don't have to assume any other non-material entities. But that's a far more modest claim. That would just be the claim that in principle this might be a possibility, but it's not the claim that we are very close to at this point, and it's also not the claim that everything there is just material. This would be an altogether different claim. It's one thing to say there's a material world and I have a certain methodology for explaining this material aspect of reality. But it's an altogether different and much more stronger claim to say that all of reality is just material, and therefore science is also able to explain all of reality. So as I was saying before, there are many features of our existence, for instance, the dimension of ethics, the dimension of our social interactions, the interpersonal dimension. These are all dimensions that require also other epistemic access, and only a purely scientific access and access from the natural sciences alone would not help us to properly grasp and understand the importance of these dimensions for our existence.